here today talking with artist Roy Nichols from Area 3 of the Florida Artist Group. Thank you for taking your time today to meet with us, Roy.
Pleasure.
Could you share with us a little bit about your experiences growing up?
Well, I was born in upstate New York. An army post. I'm an army brat, and when I was 4, we came south, and we've been south ever since. But I'm just my dad. Well, I'm just wondering if I should mention. Well, my father was a soldier, and I wanted to be a soldier, and so I went to Baylor Military School in Chattanooga, and then to West Point. And then I was kicked out of West Point after a year and a half, and then I took the re-entrance examination and went back in and repeated my first year, and then was kicked out in deficiency in conduct, which I was real mixed up and bitter, but it was the best thing could ever happen to me, because I came down here, and my father lived in Bradenton, and so we came to Bradenton, and then I met my wife and started my art career.
Nice. Now, what inspired you to become an artist?
Oh, I wasn't inspired by anything. I've always liked to draw, but I never been allowed to think of it as anything important. And then when I was finally kicked out of West Point, my father trying to straighten me out a little bit because I was mixed up. Said, why don't you go down to the art school? It's down in Sarasota. And I did, and I fell in love with art. I fell in love with my wife shortly afterwards, but that's different. And I've just been in love with it ever since.
You found your passion.
I have found my passion.
That's wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit how you heard about the Florida Artist Group?
Well, of course, at the way back when they had the symposium at the Manatee Art League in Bradenton, and Ralph and his wife, Ralph McKelvey and his wife, talked me into trying for the Florida Arts Group, and because they were hosting it at that time, and I tried, and I've been in ever since.
That's wonderful. I'm glad that they did. We're glad to have you as a member.
Well, yeah.
When you first joined the Florida Artist Group, were there any members that encouraged you or that you were inspired or touched by their work?
Well, gosh, I don't remember. That was 65 or about that years ago. But I had some good friends that were members of the Florida Artist Group. There was Nikki Parton and Gene White and anyway, I
You just enjoyed meeting new people and traveling and
yeah
doing the symposiums.
yeah.
That's wonderful. Each year we have a symposium with the Florida Artist Group, and I understand that one year you brought your daughter. Could you tell us a little bit about that experience for her and what what that's transpired to now?
Well, she was about 5 or 6 at the time, and she just had a ball with us. We went to all the things that all the events at the Florida Artist Group, and it was a lot of fun, and she fell in love with it. Of course, she is, by the way, she's a grown woman now, and she is a professional artist, and she does a very good job in big landscapes, mainly in Tennessee and around, and the mountains. Of course, she is up painting with us up in the mountains, and her husband is a professional portrait painter, and he's a very fine portrait painter. And that's Peggy and Tom Root, and they are very, very good. In fact, they put me to shame. But anyway.
I think that's very nice that your father, who was a hobbyist in painting when he was a young man, inspired you to go to school, and here you are several years later still painting and doing what you love, and now that's transpired to your daughter, who's basically a third generation artist now because of your father.
And who knows, she has a daughter and a son. The daughter is a ballet dancer, and a very fine ballet dancer, and with the Atlanta Ballet Company. And her son is 11 now, and he's very good draftsman, and of course, because he plays guitar and sings, and he's 11. So who knows? But he does a lot of good drawings.
Very creative family,
Yeah.
very creative. What medium are you currently working with, and why are you drawn to this particular medium?
Well, of course, I've experimented with just about anything, well, most of the medium. I studied sculpture, but I studied with, by the way, it was Leslie Posey. He was fine sculptor at that time. And I tried watercolor and pastel and all of them. But then I found oil, and oil, well, I found my love.
That's wonderful. What inspires you to continue to paint?
Oh, everything. There's just always so much to paint, and there's always things that inspire you. Just looking at trees or no.
It just makes you happy.
Yeah.
It makes you happy.
Oh boy, I tell you.
Do you have any particular subject matter that you like to paint?
Maybe painting the river. There's a river that goes around us in North Carolina, where we live. It goes 3/4 of the way around us, and you can't see it from where we live, but you can it's easy to see, to get to, and there's, oh, so many places to paint along that river, and it's always gorgeous. It's called the Tow River. That's the name of the beautiful, beautiful tow.
Wonderful. Are you creating any new work at this time?
Well, mainly what I'm doing, working is once in a while, there's several new ones that I've done here, but there's a bunch of paintings that I had started, and I'm just redoing them and working with them and changing things around and so on. Which is a lot of fun.
Right. Would you be willing to share some of your work with us today?
Oh, sure. If there's anything that you'd like to see.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Roy, for showing us your artwork. Can you tell me a little bit about your new pieces that you're currently working on?
Well, this one is, I think, is finished, but the it's where two streams run together, and it's from, of course, from North Carolina, and it was beautiful, and so I really enjoyed painting it. But that's all I can think of to say.
Is this in the Toe area you were telling us?
Yes. It's. I think it's both of these streams go down and start the Toe.
Wonderful.
This is not too far from Mount Mitchell.
Wonderful. I love how you've captured the light. It's just, it must have been morning time. Is that one of your favorite times to paint?
Oh yes.
Okay.
And I try to get a part of, as the morning goes on, you know, I see different parts and that really come out. I mean, like at the first time, this rock here was very strong, and I had it, and it was, I didn't know what to do with it. And then it went into the shadow, and I thought, oh, that's it. And this is just down the street from where we live, and it's just a real gorgeous valley.
A lot of artists have a couple of their favorites, you know, and if you've been a painter for 50 years, is there a painting that you're especially proud of or that you're most in love with? Every time you see it, it might bring you joy or bring back a nice meaning?
No, not really. There's every painting is really important to me, and the best thing I've ever done. But then now my next painting will be, well, now that's the best thing I've ever done, and so on. I'm constantly changing. So
Boy, you have this beautiful image of this beautiful lady here. Could you tell us a little bit about this painting?
Well, that was my wife, and Josie was.
I had just gotten home from the hospital after having our daughter.
That's right.
And I was the lady of leisure at that point, and I posed for Roy.
How wonderful. Now, I understand that this image is in one of the catalogs for the Florida Artist Group.
Yes,
is that
it is.
right?
Yeah.
It'd be in
Wonderful.
1956.
Right on the head. On the front of it. 56 we were married. It was back to
In 58.
the early 50s.
58.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. You have some beautiful albums that you brought out today for us. Could you tell us a little bit about these albums?
Well, this is sort of the history of Roy's career in art, with articles that have been written over time. And
It seems like you have a whole bunch there. It seems like he was very busy.
well, yeah, he had a lot of publicity back in the old days, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
That's wonderful.
2000.
Now, when you first met Roy, was he already starting his career as a painter, or did this happen after you got married?
No, he was in art school when I met him,
Okay.
and we went together and dated until he graduated. Then we figured he was now a professional artist, right?
And I had
And,
a teaching job at the art center.
Oh,
That was
okay.
his first job at Manatee Art League. And we got married, and
That was 3 years we went together.
Okay. Courting time, all right.
and so now, how many years later? 60,
59 years.
59 years later, we're still together.
I understand, Roy, that you also taught up in North Carolina. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we were wooed by the manager, or the assistant manager of the Fontana Village, North Carolina, and he came down, I think from Clearwater, and interviewed us and gave us. Anyway, we took off one time and it was very strange because we had nothing paid him, had nothing, and looked at nothing but the flat Florida landscape, and all of a sudden had these big mountains all around us. But that anyway, that happened in for 29 years that we taught and taught art and painted in North Carolina, and then we left Fontana and went up to Burnsville, where we are been for, I guess, close to 20 years,
Wonderful.
and teaching and painting. And it's just been a couple of years I haven't been teaching, although I might teach anytime.
Absolutely. If it comes up, the opportunity is there. So
Yeah.
I think that's so wonderful that you were able to help artists not only in Florida but in North Carolina,
Yeah.
and have the difference of a beautiful ocean views and then go up to the mountain and have the mountain views.
Yeah.
It's it must have been a really nice feeling to be able to have the option to paint both types of.
Absolutely. It's wonderful. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.